My name is Bruce Thompson. I'm a professional fine art photographer. I've been working at creating images for the past 45 years of all sorts. I'm fluent in many different levels of photography, both artistically and commercially. Uh, We've tried just about everything to make a success, so to stay in the media that I've loved my whole life. I went to the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire, which was one of the state universities of Wisconsin. It had a wonderful art department. I didn't major in art though, but because when I went in, I decided to major in business because I thought I needed business background to make the photography become a business for me to live from. So I started in business with an art minor, and that's what I graduated with. And it's all come to play as the years have come and gone. When I went to college, there was one course that was available. It was in a journalism department, and it was basic darkroom techniques. And I hadn't gotten involved in the darkroom yet, but this gave me exposure into a whole world of making black and white images, which I had fallen in love with from the very beginning. And from that one course, I had two professors that gave me an opportunity. They came to me and they said, "We see that you're passionate about what you do. Would you be interested in maybe doing an independent study?" And boy, that tickled my ears. And so we came up with an idea. I pursued the idea. And from the whole, it was actually 2 years that I worked on different projects, but this main one, I was able to create a small book of poetry written by someone else, but I visually embellished it, and also a one-man show of photography at the university. And from that spurred on quite a movement in the art department, and they actually built a whole photography division under some of my, I guess, input. They involved me in developing what would be good for students to study as far as dark rooms and setup rooms and photography opportunities that they could work at an academic situation. So it was really quite a fun and wonderful thing to be involved in. Well, starting in the business for me was the first time I was handed a camera. It fit. It was very comfortable in my hands. And I knew immediately there was something I could do with this, that I could express the artistic things that I saw. As far as getting going as a photographer, I just took that camera and I started to practice and shoot. And it made me more aware day by day how much beauty there was immediately around me. I guess to really get going, I amassed enough good black and white images to be able to start displaying them via art fairs. And from the art fairs, we got recognized, and we had our success kind of started off with that. I've done just about everything you can name, but I've gone back to what I originally started. The beauty I found around me. I do everything from indoor to outdoor. I prefer a lot of the outdoor natural lighting conditions and situations that Mother Nature presents us daily, seasonally, continually. So you never know. Every day is different, and you can find something within that realm to photograph and hope that it has some good meaning or a story involved in it. Well, for me, the commercial photography kind of came through the back door. We were exhibiting at art fairs, and we were doing pretty good at it. And then I had a couple of gentlemen come into our display, and they liked what I was doing, and they approached me about a potential job that they were in control of, and was wondering if I would be interested at all in becoming the state photographer for the state of Wisconsin. I said, that sounds pretty cool. What do I have to do? He says, well, you gotta travel around the state and do pictures of all variety. And I said, well, what kind of pictures? They said, basically what I'm looking at in your display. And I said, well, that's easy enough for me to do. So they gave me a commission to go about photographing the state in all different seasons and characters, activities available, all sorts of different things that I would come up with. And they gave me a base guideline to go by, and I did that for about 3 years. I started to do some work for some ad agencies. They came to me asking me if I could possibly do things like fashion photography or industrial photography, product photography. So I started doing all of those. I shot fashion for, I think it was 8 to 10 years. Pretty much lived out of an airplane, on and off, going from one location to another for shootings for all sorts of commercial fashion manufacturers such as Champion, Pride, Hart Schaffner, Marks, Jansen. Gosh, I mean, was a ton of them. And then came along a lot of industrial work where I did large corporations, and I did their annual reports, and that was a big thing back in the day, where they would publish a book that would show you photographically the essence of a company or corporation, and it was interesting with all the different facets that photography would cover. Then I got involved in doing a lot of product work, catalog work, in my own studio that I had created in the meantime, and that kept us busy for the rest of the time until the digital phenomena came along, and a lot of that was replaced internally into most businesses, and the professional photographer and his day rate just about disappeared. Oh, golly, that's a good one. Love what you do. If you love it and you're driven by it, you'll be good at it. It takes time. I would say that persistence, and you have to be flexible. A lot of times what you have trained yourself to do well will change on you. And you have to learn how to find another way to make that statement. Be perseverant, live cheap. Find the business in photography. Find your niche. If there's something that you have that you do that is specific and unusual, or there seems to be a need for that you'd like to excel in, grab a hold of it, develop it, see what you can do with it, see if it changes. That's part of that flexibility thing. How many times I have told my wife that, well, it looks like we're reinventing ourselves again. And here we are, 50 years later, still doing it. And it's morphed more times than I can even tell you. I'm from a family of artists, and I saw art daily. I saw it being created constantly. And the things that I saw amazed me on the canvases that my dad painted. We talked about it all the time. He taught me how to see. He gave me such wonderful lessons in the back end of a boat that a child of interest, I couldn't even tell you how valuable they set a course for me. So when I started at a very young age starting to pay attention, it just made sense to me. And from that, I just kind of walked forward with that feeling that I know. And I never looked back. And it's always rewarded me through the years. I can go back, and those lessons are still evident. I use them daily, and there seems to be some success in it because I'm still doing what I love to do. We have a wonderful attitude in my family. Humor is one of the things that's strong in our family, and don't take yourself so seriously. It's the feeling that I think confidence builds up your background. And when times get tough, you find a way to get through that and be patient. You'll hit the wall many times in this business, but, peel yourself off the wall and keep going. If that's what you're wanting to do, it's worth the effort. Well, here's the toughest part of the job. Doing all the artwork and everything is virtually easy for us. The hard part is to make that belong to someone else. So that's marketing. We have to find avenues in which to get exposure, to be seen, to be recognized, to create enough of an awareness so that your name is recognizable. And that is all in making your business come alive. And that is something that we're involved more heavily now than we've ever been. A certain amount of advertising, doing things that are more visible to the public, putting on shows, being involved in shows, doing things with the community. We joined the local Chamber of Commerce and meeting and greeting people via that, and also their functions. We advertise in some of the local publications that maybe the tourists may see it, pick up. Eventually, the word of mouth is the strongest and best way to advertise. And if the pictures are successful enough, you begin to get a following. The internet certainly is untold what that can do. It's very mysterious. It's all of a sudden you're hearing from people all around the world. If it's found, it's incredible what can happen. One of the major things is that we opened up our own gallery, and we have exposed this to the public. The public can come to us and see original artwork where they can ask their own questions of who, how, and where I can get it, and what is it, or whatever it might be. We're here to meet and greet with them, which is a lot of fun because we love having people visit because there's always a lot of stories to be told and heard, which builds that one-on-one exposure, which is really the most important advertising fashion that we have. Back in the day, I used to be hired because of my reputation. And that took a long time to establish. And commercially, we developed what we call day rates for your work. And as you got a better reputation, the values went up. When the digital world came through, there were many people in line to take your place. And that kind of theory of value was kind of overshadowed by, I think, a bottom line mentality. If we can get it cheaper with the foreman on the shop floor photographing what goes on here, or somebody within the corporation or whatnot taking care of those kinds of duties. So again, you had to change and find another way to get your name out there. You have to basically keep focused as to what you want out of the business. And then you can figure it out as with your competitors or what's available. What's the forecast for the future of photography? It's not going away. The future is unknown. It's got to be huge because it's done nothing but get bigger and bigger. Better for some people because they'll be able to find their niche within it. I can see that just technically speaking, the capabilities are mind-boggling. In the beginning, when I was involved in creating black and white photography, we always referred to it, and so did people in the news media and everywhere else, that taking a picture was the truth. When the digital revolution came over, that concept kind of went a 180, or now truth can be altered. It's a way in which, innocently, I guess they would say, well, I'll take that mole off her cheek, and found out that, well, I can do more than that. And the next thing you know, you're not knowing what the real truth is, because everybody and anybody can change that truth to what they want it to be. It gives you a lot of flexibility as an artist to play with things. But then again, how far should you play with it? I don't really have a hand on, specifically where, but I think it's so broad in scope that just about everywhere you go. I mean, you've got cameras of all sorts and video and whatnot on street corners and in shops and at home, and it's almost unavoidable. Where you want to go within it is what you're going to have to figure out. Find your passion. Follow that. I'm now involved in my own wonderful, beautiful little gallery that I have, and we're displaying our artwork that has been conceived in many different ways. We have beautiful pictures here. In this gallery, that not only do I have my work, but I also have some wonderful examples of my father's work, who was a major American Impressionist painter, and he's responsible for teaching me how to see what I've done. And another blessing is that out of this, my son and hopefully even my daughter are going to pursue creating more fine art as the years come up. I've enjoyed this trip immensely. Lots of wonderful things have happened to us in meeting the people and the places that we've been able to go to just because of this media. So I've got some years left in me, and I'm going to see this thing through to the end.